Hey guys, I'm Richard Neowin, and today we're unboxing the Lenovo ThinkPad P17 Gen 1. So Gen 1 is just something that they're calling it. It's not actually the first generation. It's all of the ThinkPads from last year are being called Gen 1 because they changed up the branding. Remember, like they had the T480, the T490, that was the 14-inch. They couldn't go to T500 after that because 500 is the 15-inch. So they just started calling these things like T14 Gen 1, T15 Gen 1. Of course, we have the P17 Gen 1. So it's a 17-inch version of the P series, which is mobile workstation. And yes, this is the beast, okay? This particular unit that Lenovo sent me, that would run you at the current discounts on Lenovo.com just under $5,000. It starts at a lot less than that, right? Maybe around $1,500. It's, but of course, at the base model, you get like a Core i5, 10300H, but like all of the mobile workstations that come under the Lenovo pretty much all mobile workstations, you could get it with an Intel H series processor, which is the 45-watt chip, or you could get it with a Xeon processor, which is really more built for this type of thing. This one comes with the Xeon 10885M, Xeon W 10885M. So it's an expensive chip, and let me tell you, if you go and price this out on Lenovo.com, you click the customize button, and when you switch to Xeon from the base model, that Core i5, it's about $1,600 more. Okay, but we're not done because the graphics processor in here is also a beast, right? In the base model, you could get a Quadro T1000. Which again is fine, and like it's a wide array of use cases for this, right? So you might need something like a T1000 will be fine for you, but at the same time, you might need the beast. So this one comes with Quadro RTX 5000 graphics, and when you configure that, it's about between $2,900 and $3,000 more than the T1000 in the base model. Now that's going to get us 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory, which is a lot. There's a lot of power here, really. And also we have 32 gigs of RAM. This one comes with a 512 gig SSD. You could get it up to, I think, 4 terabytes. By the way, you could get the RAM up to 128 gigabytes. So like there's a lot of configuration options here. This one comes with a 4K display, and then it's also available with full HD. So really, it's like, this is the type of, and you'll notice like all ThinkPads have lots of configuration options because they are for business users, and business users have different needs, and so, it assumes that there are pre-built configurations, but also like you know what you need. So, for going from a T1000 to a Quadro RTX 5000, like there's a big difference there, right? Going from a 45-watt Core i5, to the Xeon, which is octa-core, 16 cores, and 16 threads. Big difference, right? And plus they're completely different kinds of CPUs. So, it's all about what your workflow is really like here. All right, so let's get this open. It is not a thin and light PC. It's over 7 pounds, which, by the way, is probably lighter. 7.7 pounds is probably lighter than other 17-inch P series that I've reviewed in the past. But like this model is not for consumers. Although no models are for consumer are made for consumers, but it's like if you're going out and you just say, hey, I want to buy a new laptop and I just want power, like this probably isn't even for you. Like this is like you have to consider that it is mobile workstation stuff. So like we're talking about 3D rendering, CAD, very very complex stuff, very professional complex stuff, right? Stuff that takes up multi gigabyte, type of operations, terabytes. This is the most, probably the most powerful mobile workstation that you can get. So it really is looking at those very, very, very complex tasks that you just wouldn't be able to do elsewhere. Now, the Quadro RTX, by the way, if you're not familiar with RTX, which you should be by now, That includes things like real-time ray tracing and deep learning super sampling. Nvidia did it first on its gaming GPUs. Then it brought it to the workstation GPUs in the Quadro line. The GeForce, I think it was the logical place to start because gaming was a great way to show off ray tracing, show off real-time ray tracing, because you could see people running around and the shadows and the lighting and just, it's tracing rays of light, which normally, like, it's not a new idea, ray tracing. It's just that you would have to let it render for a long time. Real-time ray tracing was kind of a breakthrough, right? So that was the big difference, and it was easy to show up in gaming. But also, I mean, when you're coming up with it, like different kinds of designs, like this workstation stuff, that comes in handy there too, right? So let's see what else is in the box. There's going to be a charger. It should be 230 watts, which is pretty standard for this type of thing. So we can take a look here. Nice big charging brick. It is 230 watts. It's the same charger that you'll find in Lenovo's gaming laptop. Anything with a powerful GPU and a powerful CPU gets this 230 watt brick. You notice it does have what I like to call Lenovo's USB Type A shaped power adapter. That's their proprietary power adapter, and it's very common. It's the shape of, it's not exactly the shape of USB Type A, but it looks so similar that if you own this thing, at some point, you're going to try and put this in a USB port, or you're going to try and put a USB cable in the power port. Like that's just how it is with this. No, it doesn't charge through USB Type C. That's never going to happen for something this powerful, just because you can't do 230 watts over USB-C power delivery. So that's just not how it works. So look, you can see this is it's a big boy, right? It's big because it's got a 17-inch screen. It's thick because it's powerful and it needs thermals for that. Like, there's a lot going on in here. It's also thick because it's got a bigger battery, 94 watt hours now, which is cool because the thing about the bigger battery is that, I like to say that you can choose between power and battery life, and that's really what it adds up to with mobile technology. You get power or you get battery life. If you want something that's more powerful, it's going to cost you. It's going to suck down that power. So obviously we've got a bunch of ports over here, and let me tell you, this does not match the list that Lenovo sent me at all, because let me tell you, the list that Lenovo sent me on their spec sheet, I'm reading it off the screen, 2 USB 3.2 Gen 1 ports, 1 USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type C port, 2 Thunderbolt 3. So it's missing a USB Type A port, right? I was a little disappointed in the list at first because it's kind of weird the way that they break up the Type C ports. But see, on this side we've got 2 USB Type A ports. We've got an SD card reader. Sadly, USB 3.2 Gen 1, which means 5 gigabits per second instead of 10 gigabits per second. We do have another Type A port over here alongside of HDMI. Okay, so yeah, there's a lot there. But then if you look at the back here, at the back you can see that power port. All the way on one side, it does look like a USB Type A port. Then we have 3 Type C ports, 2 of which are Thunderbolt 3. Okay, and then one is USB 3.2 Gen 1 again. And that's a shame. Like we're seeing more and more USB 3.2 Gen 2 ports. And I don't know why. Companies, I feel like they're just sticking with it because they didn't redesign the PC or whatever. But this is still cool because you have the 2 Thunderbolt ports. Tricky thing about Thunderbolt 3, I don't know if they're full Thunderbolt 3 or base spec Thunderbolt 3 ports, because the base spec is just 20 gigabits per second. You could plug in a 4K monitor, stuff like that. The full spec, 40 gigabits per second. You could plug in an external GPU if you want, dual 4K monitors, or even an 8K monitor. All right, that's the full spec. And like, that's why Thunderbolt 4 with 11th gen processors really comes in handy for that type of thing. Because, really, Thunderbolt 4, the base spec is really just the full spec of Thunderbolt 3. So it just makes it a lot easier to know what you're buying. So obviously I'm going to test this out, and I will be happy to let you know if this is the full spec or it's the base spec. But I mean, there's lots of ports here anyway, right? You have the 2 Thunderbolt, you have the other USB Type-C port, you have HDMI. If you need external monitors, you can do it, right? Mobile workstation, you're probably going to need, like, you are probably going to have a setup with multiple monitors if you want. No cellular on this. It looked like there was a SIM card tray in there, and I kind of, well, actually there is a SIM card tray in there. It's one of those things that seems, usually they just put a slug in the SIM tray if it's not a cellular model, and this one is not just a slug, so I was really hoping that they sent us, like, you don't see very powerful PCs like this very much that have cellular in it, so that excited me, but that's not the case. General ThinkPad stuff, right? The keyboard is the ThinkPad keyboard. It's got a track point. It's got the touchpad with the physical buttons above it. Fingerprint sensor right over here. Dolby Atmos speakers. That's new. So now we have Dolby Atmos speakers above the keyboard. So that should be really cool if you're doing like video editing and stuff like that on here. It should. You know, that sound quality is obviously important if you're working with that kind of media. So yeah. So Dolby Atmos. So like that, by the way, that's the big things that have changed. 10th gen processors, the new Quadro RTX graphics, Dolby Atmos speakers, and the 94 watt hour battery. Those are the highlights of this machine. I did just reboot it to hope that maybe it was just the cellular driver that crashed, but that's neither here nor there. All right. So that's it, guys. It's the ThinkPad P17. As usual, it is mil-spec tested, over a dozen tests. All ThinkPads are meant to be tough. They're meant to, not just in general, not break, right? That like sand resistant, dust resistant, extreme temperature shocks, stuff like that. So it's tough. Like ThinkPad always stands for build quality. So we have that great keyboard, stuff like that. And then of course you have this beautiful 4K display, a lot of power under the hood, Dolby Atmos speakers, big battery, and that's it. So I mean, I'm going to be interested in testing the battery life and seeing how much better it is, if it's better, because again, I've never seen something with this much power have any kind of decent battery life. I don't expect it, and I don't hold it against it, but I'm curious to see how much it's improved with a bigger battery. So guys, that's it. I'll have a review on this in probably about a month because I do have a lot of PCs right now. So stay tuned. I'm Richard Neowin. Have a great night.